Okay guys, so I hope you can hear me because I really don't want to do this. Again, I just found the perfect position for the camera. So, what I'm going to be doing today for you is drawing a quick sketch of an eastern bluebird. Originally it was going to be watercolor, but then I remembered that I am very unpracticed with watercolors. So that didn't work out as well as I had hoped. But anyway, eastern bluebird. So they're a bird that you'll see around here if you're lucky. They like a specific kind of seed, and I don't know what that is, but I will find out and let you know. Anyway, so you want to start with the head or the body. You know, it's kind of up to you. I usually start with the head and the eye, just out of habit. And I'm sorry for the position of my hand, but the camera was kind of hard to figure out. So, here we go. So what I'm doing now is starting with the eye. I always start with the eye. I don't know. I don't really have any explanation for that. It's just, I guess, the easiest part. It kind of brings the whole head together, and then the head brings the body together. It's just what I do, but personal preference, you know. So with the eye, you just kind of make a circle, and bird eyes don't have color. Really, I think unless you get really close. I have never studied bird eyes before, but you can look it up. That's what Google is for. So with bird eyes, you just kind of make a circle, and then there's always some light, so you gotta have your light, which is coming from this direction, the top right corner of the paper. So then from bird eyes, their beaks tend to be right in front of their eyes. I think that is an evolutionary thing so that they know what they're eating. So with sketching, it's really easy. It's kind of comfortable. You put on some music. It's not a stressful thing unless you're making a video about it. You always want to have an eraser ready so that you can erase any weird lines or goofed upness, you know, just to correct your mistakes. And that's the really awesome thing about drawing and a lot of other art, you know, media. It's fixable. So bird heads are usually pretty round. So you come up, they have some tufts. We're going to be doing a really ruffly guy here. He's perturbed. Maybe another eastern bluebird got his worm or seed. And when I draw, I always make faint lines before I do anything else. Just because they're easier to erase, and it depends on the graphite gauge. So this is not labeled, but this is a lighter pencil. It's kind of medium, I guess, hardness. So you have these other pencils here, and they all range from super soft to super hard, and I usually tend to go with the middle because it's just, you know, easier. I don't use charcoal a lot, but charcoal is really awesome for quick sketches too, just because you get that sharp contrast. I also started kind of far over on the paper, but that's okay. So birds actually have shoulder spaces, you know, so like their wing and their shoulder kind of starts at the bottom of their neck. And when I draw birds, which is kind of a lot, I always do the wings folded in. Well, I don't always, but it's just easier. So you can kind of get the shape there. And birds have cute fluffy bellies when they're perched on a branch. I guess depending on the bird. Eagles do not have fluffy bellies. If you can't see quite yet, bear with me and I'll make my lines a little bit darker in a sec. Like I said, I just kind of get them all figured out first, and then I go in with shading and contrast lines and stuff like that. So here's a little foot. So eastern bluebirds, to have a little bit of background, they are considered songbirds, but my nerdy wildlife teacher explained that songbirds should be renamed because crows are considered songbirds as well. And their songs definitely aren't as pretty as a robin or an eastern bluebird. And they should be considered perching birds because the way that their foot is shaped. So they have 2 or 3 claws in front and they have 1 in the back. And that's for gripping and stuff, but that's not part of our picture. I'll just erase that real quick. So here's just a branch because our little guy isn't flying, so he can't just be floating in the air. And a quick lesson in drawing tree branches. Whenever you have an offshoot like this, the branch tends to get skinnier because that's trees. I don't know why. So as you know, birds have feathers, right? And they're always layered so that wind can't get like through them and then disrupt their flight and they would fall. Closer to the bird's shoulder, the feathers tend to be shorter. And then as they come down to the point of their wing, they usually get a bit longer. It just kind of depends on the bird. And like I said, I kind of started from a funky point on the page, but it's art. Art has funk to it. So that's cool. Birds also kind of have chins. And depending on the bird, their chin will be kind of marked like that, or it'll go straight back or something like that. But eastern bluebirds kind of have just a thin little bit of orange, which I may or may not add by the end of the video. I don't quite know. We'll see. Alright, so now his quick outline is done. You can switch to a harder pencil or charcoal, or no, forgive me, softer lead. Just gets that more defined look to it. And sketching, drawing is really fun because it's so relaxing, just put on some music and then you can quick hash out a picture of an eastern bluebird. It's got some ruffles. So when you want to draw birds, you really gotta know what bird you're drawing, because not all birds look the same, obviously. You have the eagle, and then you have the eastern bluebird, or robins, or anything like that. And really, if you're afraid to sketch or draw or anything, don't be, because if you're not good now, you can always get good later. I think people shy away from art because they think they can't do it, but that's really not true. Practice makes perfect, guys. And even that's not true, because you want to know what's perfect? Nothing. There's literally nothing perfect in this world. Everything can be art. That's kind of the beauty of sketches too, because sketches are done relatively quick, like in 10 minutes. The only person who can make a work of art and be able to sell it for millions and thousands of dollars is, I think, Jackson Pollock, because he just had the drips. And shading is super easy when you're sketching too. Sketches are looser, you know? It's, they're meant to be fast. And with shading, you gotta remember the difference in colors. So, orange is relatively a lot brighter of a color than blue, and Eastern bluebirds are obviously blue. And when you're sketching colors in grayscale like I am, it's really easy to get the same kind of flat tone, but you don't want that. Blue is more concentrated, which means that it's a kind of a darker shade. So you gotta consider that too. And there's our quick sketch of an Eastern bluebird. The shape anyway. I didn't get to the color today. That's fine. Ta-da!